Qing Prose, what are we busy with? I have many girlfriends, all of whom are married now. They don't have children, and they don't have much work, but they have no time to spare and don't know what they are busy with every day. We have to find a job. Are we going to live like this for the rest of our lives? Young Zhang's I was worried. I'll be 30 in 4 or 5 years. The beautiful Wang felt even more confused. But despite being anxious, in fact we still went on year after year without doing anything. At home we neither wash nor cook, nor go to the theater or play cards. We have raised children and have a wet nurse. People think that we are young ladies who have a lot of free time, but in fact we are also busy every day. Even I was a little confused by this situation, so I made an appointment to discuss it together. What on earth are we busy with? Shu, who lives in a big family, spoke first. I can't help it. It's not that I'm too lazy to do things. There are so many people in the family, including father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and an aunt who was born in a brothel. Why don't you go and do it in front of me? Every morning, my mother-in-law recites Buddha's name and burns morning incense. My sister-in-law and uncle have to go to school. After finally burning the incense with the elder, I send the younger one to school. When I return to the room, I still have to wait on my husband. Get up. This is the rule of a large family, and we women who are knowledgeable and polite must know it. Otherwise, it will be disrespectful to the parents. Don't you think it is too humble to do such a thing? You will understand that the daughters-in-law in big families live like this. They are afraid that they will make others laugh, so they endure the humiliation. At first they do not dare to resist, but later they do not want to resist. Holding the basin and doing everything. Come, as long as her husband is willing to cover her coat and quilt in front of others, it means that they are taking care of her dignity. They are the most unwilling to offend others. Find movie advertisements for their aunt. Tell the story of the Dragon King with their mother-in-law. And be polite when relatives come. All day long, I was busy trying to deal with other people. At night, my husband came back again. So I got up to the party and tried to deal with it again. I was so perfunctory that he fell asleep, and I lay on the bed exhausted, remembering that I hadn't bought any shoes and newspapers. I didn't read it, I didn't pay it, and even the letters from home had to be handed down from my parents' knees. But I'll have to leave these things until tomorrow. If we have a small family. A small family? The impatient man sneered. I think a happy small family is always a fantasy. Although you live in a big family, you are not free. But the food are ready and you don't care about the family. How can we be in such trouble? We have 3 meals a day, clothes and shoes are ironed, and we have to personally direct everything. Once my aunt runs away, I have to go to the shop and change to meals a day, which is the most troublesome thing in a small family. It's my aunt. You sit in your room on weekdays. One moment she will run in to get money to buy soy sauce, and the next moment she will say that the brush is missing. She hates you for closing the door, but she will knock loudly and say that it is a registered letter waiting to be picked up. Reply. In this case, what else do you think you can do? And what books are good to read? If you happen to be interested and want to write an article by yourself, I guarantee that you will not be able to write more than 3 lines. It will drive them all away. So we must have a career and leave the family to work outside. Young Zhang repeated her idea. Wang quickly stood up and objected. If you want to find a job, you must first get divorced. Otherwise, we hope that he will become bankrupt and unemployed as soon as possible. A husband with a considerable income will never let his wife concentrate on her career and run away. Look, the one next door to us didn't Mr. Sun make a fuss after only 1 week of teaching, and he had to hire someone to teach for him? Men always have a wife to help them when they are at home, when they wake up in the morning. He turned around and pretended to be asleep again, so the wife had to show affection and tenderness to coax him out of bed. Unexpectedly, he even acted coquettishly, put on his clothes and fell on the bed again, dragging him for a long time. The hour passed. The first thing you did when you got up was to go to the bathroom with your slippers. At that time, you had to get the newspaper for him and follow him. When he got on the horse, you sat by the bathtub. Everyone was reading the newspaper and laughing, and it was easy to wait until he was gone. My legs are numb, so I stand up to wash my face and shave. I need you to help with soap and razor for a while, until your stomach is really hungry. So everyone walks into the dining room and sits down. The young master's errand is here again. The bread is too soft to be replaced with biscuits, and the milk is too light. So I need to add sugar. It wasn't until the clock struck 9 that I hurried to the office. Before leaving, I repeatedly told you not to go out in the morning. Maybe if you forget something, send someone to pick it up. In short, it is the woman's responsibility to look after the house. Then, you can always do some work freely after he goes out. Shu asked eagerly. Do some work? Wang smiled charmingly. When your husband is gone, your aunt comes to trouble you. Schumann should know this pain very well. At that time, Wang Amma saw the young master going out and ran in to clean the room for you. Rag in Great Vancouver. The dust was flying when sweeping the floor, so you had to go out to the balcony to take a deep breath. When she came back after everything was ready, the desk was so wet that she couldn't write an article, so she had to pick up the newspaper and read it. She just lay down. Sofa Wang's mother came in again and said that she had bought some side dishes. It was impossible to do any work during the day, and she had to accompany us to give some comforting words at night. So I said that if our husbands were not bankrupt and unemployed, our hope would always be just a hope. Speaking of this, Shen's eyes turned red. She said that her husband did not need her affection and comfort, but he also did not allow her to find a job on her own, leaving him with no one to vent his anger on when he returned home. He has a very bad temper and always makes trouble with her. The water for washing his feet is too hot. A button comes off. Everything is his wife's fault. He doesn't scold her enough. He even breaks the teacup, overturns the table, and gets in bed without looking back. The women in the dance hall went to relieve their boredom, so she had to cry alone, choking on oil. But her aunt came in and fixed the table, swept away the debris, persuaded her for a while and talked some gossip. Everyone sat and waited for her husband to come back from playing, and then closed the back door and went to sleep. Don't they have any new ideas? Such lack of civility and courtesy. Zhang was so angry that his face turned red. They have new ideas, but after getting married, everyone will force their wives to keep their morals. Man began to explain. I know that men are the most jealous. When I was in middle school, there was a husband who would not allow his wife to go to the barber shop after she got married. It is said that shaving one's head and molding one's neck is indecent. They do not allow their wives to expose their breasts and arms, even though they very much hope that other women can dress up more voluptuously. They will never allow their wives to develop. The opportunity to develop her abilities is to suppress her by blindly using the principle of male master outside and female master internally, and keep her under his control forever. We all agreed with these words. After the men caged the women like birds and tamed them, they soon became dissatisfied with their masterpiece. Although their feathers were still beautiful, they were not lively at all as they hung their wings and closed their eyes all day long. At this time, even if someone opens the cage door for them, they can't fly anywhere, and the vast sea and sky will always become a dream realm. Although this result reassures them, they bully her and blame them for not working hard to climb up. They can neither help their husbands' careers nor accompany them to make them happy. If men are not generous and willing to admit that they are unlucky, it's time for women to beg for food. So, they don't need to be polite to you, Mansion said with emotion. But we women are really too ambitious, Zhang said angrily. The men are jealous and do not hesitate to use inducements and coercion to suppress us into obedience. Don't we think we are jealous and make them busy every day without knowing it? Why are you so busy that you can't succeed in all your endeavors? I know that women's jealousy methods are different from men's. They dare not break the traditional concept and ask men to sit at home with her all day long, because a husband who has nothing to do will also make her lose face. Therefore, they had to sacrifice their freedom, give up their careers, endure trouble every day, and fulfill the sacred duty of accompanying. They would never really be interested in such a position, but they were just afraid that if they didn't do it, the men would lose their temper and go out to mess around. What a stupid and frustrating way to be jealous. I think if men were willing to take the initiative to wear a chastity belt, there would be no wife in the world willing to stay at home with her husband. So, our question ends like this. I believe that if women are willing to change this jealous method and make it into a few popular slogans: health first, happiness comes first, Knowledge comes first, career first. If you want to accompany your husband, you have to do it occasionally when you can do it. Don't interfere with all your work out of jealousy and ruin your life's happiness. You have to have no time every day, and you don't even know what you are busy with.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.